What's going on, guys? It's Frankie Vu back with another football freestyle tutorial. Now, most tricks that you do are with the ball in the air, or at least off the ground, but before it gets there, the ball needs to come up off the ground. So I'm going to show you 3 different ways of getting the ball up off the ground. First one I'm going to show you is relatively simple. This is similar to a crossover trick that you might have seen before, where you're flicking the ball up while your legs are crossed. So the ball comes up from underneath this leg here like this. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to drag the ball towards myself, rolling it along the floor like this. Once it gets close towards me, I'm going to place this foot on the ground and jump slightly to flick it up off the ground while I'm taking my other leg over the ball. So put it together, it will look like this. And a little bit quicker. Now, it doesn't matter whether you flick the ball with the same foot that you've dragged it back with, or if you swap. I have to drag my other foot. It will look like that. But personally, I prefer to do it so that I'm flicking the ball up with the same foot that I'm dragging it with. So what that means is that there's more movement between the legs. So when I move this foot back, this one comes across. So I'll show that one more time. So in order to break that down, you need to be able to jump off this foot, off the ball of your foot. So you don't want your foot to be too flat, because otherwise you won't be able to get that momentum to lift yourself off the ground, which is the way that you flick the ball up off the floor as well. So you want to be standing with your standing foot. It needs to be on the ball of your foot so that you're ready to flick it up, okay? Now it gets harder if I stand on my heel. So remember, always standing on the ball of your foot as you jump. So that's one way of flicking the ball off the ground. Another way of getting the ball off the ground is one of my personal favorites. Again, relatively simple, but it's dragging the ball from one side and using your standing foot to flick the ball up off the ground, kind of like a speed bump motion. So I'm going to start with the ball over on this side here. I'm going to take one foot across. You can notice that my foot is sideways here. I'm going to trap the ball underneath that foot, roll it across this one, and just as it reaches this foot, I'm going to lift it ever so slightly just off the ground whilst keeping my heel on the floor. And that's what allows the ball to come up into the air. So I'm going to show you that now. And one more time. So you're putting most of your weight on the heel of your standing leg and flicking the ball up into the air. So the key to this one is firstly having the weight on the heel of your standing leg, but also the placement of the ball when you drag your foot across. So as you drag this foot, you want the ball to be rolling over this part of your foot. If you go too far back, this happens. It just hits the back and it won't get that lift into the air. If you go too far forward, you won't get enough contact on the ball. So the ball won't get that much height. So the ideal thing is for you to have the ball on one side and flicking up just to your outside of your foot here, roundabout where your little toe is placed. So flicking the ball up off the ground, nice and easy. That's another way of flicking the ball up off the ground. Finally, I've got one more for you, and this one involves bouncing the ball off the ground with the lower part of your knee just at the top of your shin here. So it starts off with the ball in front of you like this, and I'm going to roll it towards me, put my foot on the ground to get the ball airbound, but as it reaches here, I'm going to bring this foot forward and bounce it down off the ground, off my knee, and that will bring it up into the air. So it should look like this. So that's a really cool way of getting the ball off the ground because it adds a little bit of impact. The ball starts fast when it's bouncing down, and then when it comes up into the air and rebounds off the ground, it moves a little bit slower. So the important thing about this move is firstly being able to flick the ball up like this. Once you can do that, you need to get the timing right of bending this knee. So when I stand to the side, you're bending this knee so that your foot's coming behind you, and the ball's going to bounce down off this little part here, which is at the top of your shin and the bottom of your knee. So if I do it from the side, it will look like this. And again. So it's important to remember for this one that you're not actually pushing your knee down that far. It's the momentum of the ball coming up and the speed at which it's coming up and bouncing against your knee or the top of your shin that's creating that momentum and bringing the ball up into the air. So you don't actually need to put that much force into this movement here. The reason this one works is because when you flick the ball up from your foot to your knee, there's such a small distance that's creating a little build-up of speed, a little build-up of energy for that ball to bounce off the ground. And because this part of your leg is so hard, that's what creates the momentum. You don't actually have to push down that hard as long as the timing is right. So there we have it, 3 different ways of getting the ball up off the ground. If you want to learn more tricks, or if you want to see some more complex tutorials, you can see them right here on the Pro Direct Soccer YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.